you've never actually tasted anything. Let me explain. Right now you're watching a movie, the longest one you will ever see, with 3D vision, sound, touch, taste, smell, emotions, and even with a constant narrator transcribing your subconscious. At the heart of this movie is you experiencing everything. This movie is an ongoing stream of your conscious, and this consciousness is fundamental to human existence. It's the subjective experience of the mind and the world. It's what makes life worth living. Without it, nothing has value, but at the same time, it's one of the most mysterious things in the world, and not one person has the answer to. Whenever you taste anything, your tongue just sends electrical signals to your brain, and your brain turns the signals into the flavor. But why do we feel the bitter flavor of coffee? Experiencing is such an integral part of life, yet it's one of science's biggest mysteries. This gap between the signals and the sensations is one of the deepest mysteries we face, the hard problem of consciousness. At the center of this lies qualia. Imagine your favorite color. Imagine how deep and rich it is. Imagine the refractions of light going through your retina and the signals being sent to your visual cortex. And now the signal is turned into color. This experience is qualia. Raw, private, subjective experiences with one's consciousness. The sweetness of chocolate, the sharp tanginess of citrus, the glow of a sunset. These are not just data, they are lived realities. But now, you're wondering, what is consciousness? Consciousness is subjective experience. Like the movie that's being played inside your mind to show, taste, touch, everything we experience.
There's a famous quote, no science achieves maturity without a system of measurement.
Ooh. And we do not have the measurement system for consciousness, actually.
Which renders it immature scientifically relative to other fields, where you have petri dishes and methods and tools. So
we as humans have so many abilities. One thing we are limited to is the comparison of our minds. We cannot know that whatever someone sees or feels in their mind is the same as whatever we have felt. Qualia resist objective measurement because they exist only on the inside. So as of right now, it's impossible to compare our consciousness, thus creating the issue where we cannot confirm our own consciousness. This is where the explanatory gap comes in. We have come so far in neuroscience. 100 years ago, half of us on this planet would have been lobotomized because we have different mental conditions, which we now know are treatable, and not by severing a part of our prefrontal cortex. This is through the development of this very important science. Let's say I was to peel an omnipresent orange that goes through all of the senses for all of you watching this video. This releases molecules that release into the air. They are carried into your olfactory epithelium in your nose, which has millions of receptors. This is where the volatile molecules from the orange go. They bind to the cilia on the receptors. Once it binds, an electrical signal is sent to the olfactory bulb, which organizes these signals. Then it's sent up further into your brain, where it can be recognized in 3 different parts. The piriform cortex is the part that processes the smell. That might have sounded like a bunch of nonsense, but at least now you know how you can smell an orange. That breaks every law of physics known to man. I digress. What I'm trying to get at is that neuroscience can explain how every neuron fires when you smell an orange, yet it still doesn't tell you why these neurons firing should smell like citrus. We can understand the mechanism, but the leap from firing patterns to lived experience is missing. Why isn't the brain just crunching data in the dark? Why are we here to experience it all?
The kinds of brain areas that go along with the conscious experience of seeing faces, or of feeling pain, or of feeling happy. But this is still a science of correlations. It's not a science of explanations. We know that these brain areas go along with certain kinds of conscious experience, but we don't know why they do. I like to put this by saying that this kind of work from neuroscience is answering some of the questions we want answered about consciousness, the questions about what certain brain areas do and what they correlate with. But in a certain sense, those are the easy problems. No knock on the neuroscientists. There are no truly easy problems of consciousness, but it doesn't address the real mystery at the core of this subject. Why is it that all that physical processing in a brain should be accompanied by consciousness at all? Why is there this inner subjective movie? Right now, we don't really have a bead on that.
There is a term dubbed philosophical zombies, which is an entity identical to a human, but it does not have the ability to experience or be conscious. Through Darwin, we understand that evolution picks the most fit for the world, the best suited for the environment, and so through millions and millions of years, we have changed and developed into what we are now with these great abilities to calculate these mathematical equations and to be able to do all of these exceptional physical activities, and has even given us 2 thumbs. But for what reason is our lived consciousness really there? Nowadays, everyone and their mother is talking about AI, and this has now given us an example of what these philosophical zombies can be like. They have the same thinking ability and brain capacity, but they are missing the emotions, the consciousness. This has now added a lot of food for discussion in this topic for researchers and philosophers, but I really do not think it has helped us solve much more than what we had before AI. We still do not know why we are here to experience everything. Philosophy has wrestled with this for centuries, and despite there being answers, they are still just as unclear as the mystery itself. Physicalists insist consciousness is nothing above the brain, and it's simply a hurdle that humanity will leap above when science one day shows how qualia emerge from matter. Just like how chemistry explained matter, this mystery is only temporary. Panpsychists push even further. They believe that every matter of the universe has experience, each atom unimaginably faint on its own, but is capable of combining into this rich experience of awareness and consciousness. Philosopher Gavin Strawson calls it realistic monism, where matter has both physical and experiential aspects. Illusionists, on the other hand, pull out the rug from this completely. Keith Frankish and many more suggest that qualia are not real at all, but simply tricks played by the brain. We believe in these ineffable experiences, but it's an error, a kind of grand cognitive illusion. If this is correct, then there's no mystery or problem, as consciousness itself isn't real, it's simply an illusion and therefore it doesn't exist.
In physics, if someone makes a measurement and gets a result, and then someone else makes the same measurement but gets a different result, and someone gets a different machine to try to measure the same phenomenon, and they yet get a different result. But everybody thinks there's a result, but none of the results agree. That's usually evidence of no phenomenon at all. And people are pulling things out of the noise of the data when there is no agreement.
Usually, whenever you get differing results from multiple sources, you can understand that there is no clear solution to the problem at hand. So why is it that people explain consciousness in so many different ways, yet we still believe in this consciousness? What if we are all stuck in our own brain's hallucination, and there was no consciousness to begin with? However, do not take to this argument so easily. As Tyson said, it's all about physics, and such a topic as consciousness cannot be confined by just science. This is something that's heavily involved in philosophy too, and therefore it's very difficult to draw its conclusion that consciousness doesn't exist just from this one simple arbitrary rule. Another viewpoint on this is led by David Chalmers, who is an Australian philosopher who believes that consciousness is fundamental to the universe, like gravity, space or time. Just like how physics can't explain why the speed of light is constant, perhaps it also cannot explain why experience exists. It simply does. This is quite a common field of thought named property dualism, relating to the topic of the hard problem of consciousness. If physicalism is true, then why does subjective experience feel so irreducible? If Chalmers is right, then the consciousness belongs in the building blocks of the universe. If panpsychism holds, then every flicker of matter carries a tiny mind. And if illusionism is correct, then perhaps we are not conscious in the way we think we are. See, all of these theories may be valid, but none of them solve the unease. Reality itself isn't what we think it is. Science tells us about wavelengths, molecules, and neurons, but it never talks about the felt world inside of us, meaning everything you have ever known, all your senses, are nothing more than your brain's own hallucination. The red I see might not be the red you see, but as long as we point to the same apple, we don't know any different. This is the hard problem of consciousness. Why there is an inner world at all. And nothing guarantees that your world and mine are the same. Just think about it. Billions of brains walking around, each locked inside their own bubble of experience, with no way to know how another bubble looks like. Each of us convinced we know the real world, but none of us can ever compare our realities directly. The very ground of your life, the color of your sky, the sound of your voice, could be completely different for someone else, and you would have no way of knowing. This isn't sci-fi. This is the everyday horror and wonder of consciousness. The realization is that your reality might not be the reality, but a reality constructed inside your mind. Perhaps the hard problem of consciousness is unsolvable, or perhaps it awaits a revolution. Science may close the explanatory gap, or it may not. Maybe it's not a bug, but a feature. A reminder that as we dissect the universe, there is still something irreducibly mysterious at its core. For now, what remains is the strangeness of our own existence. The universe has produced stars, atoms, and the feelings of being you.